evening. Happy Tuesday. Yes, the Doty report is back. We took a little break because of the elections. We wanted to encourage everyone to get out there and vote and not be distracted. And I want to get out there and vote. So that's that part of the election is over. We still have a journey to go. So, thank you for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. My name is Yolanda Gibbons, and I am your host. And as always, I am honored to be here, honored to be the host, honored to have the guests, and be able to have some great conversation and share that conversation with all of you. I always like to begin by saying hello to the founder and CEO of the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization, Don Doty. Hi, Mr. Doty, and his wife, Miss Joyce. Um, this is a very special show. I have some really great guests. The Georgia Doty Comprehensive Organization is a nonprofit organization that has been serving the Chicago community for 20 plus years. The organization, the founder, his wife, and all of his team have been health advocates, really trying to bridge the gap within our communities on quality health care and access to quality health care and just connecting our community to resources. And then really looking at how the organization can serve, in particular, serve veterans, serve seniors, serve the entire homeless community, serve those that are transitioning from prison, and just really those that are in need of help and support and trying to make a difference and change within their life. So we commend them. So this is November is Awareness Month or Awareness Month recognizing veterans. Veterans Day was last week. So Don Doty, the founder and CEO, he is a veteran. He was a Marine. Very proud to know him. Just let me say before we begin the show that thank you. Thank all of you. Thank our veterans. Thank our soldiers now for the service, for keeping us free, and being on the lines and really making a difference and having a major role in our country. I don't think we give enough salute and honor to those who are out there on the lines, protecting all of us and our families. So let me begin. Let me bring in our guests. Again, I am so very honored to be able to talk to two veterans. We're going to have some conversation tonight about the work that they are doing in the community, about what's been happening with veterans, particularly like homeless veterans, veterans that have challenges during this pandemic. What kind of resources are out there for them, and how their organizations are making a difference within our community, and just some general conversation, really giving them honor and recognition. First, I'd like to welcome Cassandra Taylor. Cassandra is a 28-year Army veteran. She don't even look past 29. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
thank you, girlfriend. Thank you.
She has a bachelor's degree in technical management. This lady has, she says, I said 28-year veteran. And then this lady has a bachelor's degree and two master's degrees. She has a master's in human resource HR management, and she has an MBA. That's what's up. Like, congratulations for
Thank
that
you. Thank
alone. And again, thank you for your service. Miss Taylor is the founder and CEO of Top Flight Defense. We're gonna get into that. I want to bring in the other guests, and then we'll begin our conversation. I want to bring in Albert Alexander. He Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Thank
For
you.
your service. He served in the Army from 1996 to 2008. This man has a degree in communications, and he is the founder of a special place for veterans. I honor and I salute both of you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
very
Thank
much
you.
for your service and for joining me on this show. We're gonna have a great conversation. I really appreciate it. It's so important. I think that and not just important to talk about talk about your service, to talk about the fact that you've served this country and now you come back and you're giving back.
Mhm.
And then I always like to, especially our young people, some parents, some people shy away from the military. They don't want their kids to go and they forget about, and
Right.
maybe have
Mm.
some mixed emotions. So I definitely would like to have, before we close, talk a little bit about that, and something that you can share with a young person, a young adult who just kind of struggling with finding their place. So, but we gonna get to that. So first, I want to ask you, Cassandra, tell us about Top Flight Defense.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Top Flight Defense was established in January of 2020. One night, me and a friend of mine, Janet Miller, was sitting up talking, and I was watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I think it was two little girls in Wisconsin had been abducted and by this gentleman, and he wound up killing them, and they couldn't find the guy. And then another young lady from here in Chicago worked at the post office,
Mm-hmm.
and she was pregnant, and she never made it to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just start thinking about, how come they couldn't stop themselves? How come they couldn't, the aggressor, two little girls, somebody should have did something. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And Janet was like, well, what you gonna do? And I was like, I don't know. And so that night after getting off the phone, talking with her, and it bothered me so much. And I was like, I'm always giving. And, being a veteran, it never ends. You
Mm-hmm.
can end your career, but you never end your service to the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tossed and turned all night about what I can do to give back. How can I help? And that's when I came to the conclusion I want to start a nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
for women veteran. Not to take anything from the men, but I think women veteran need a little bit more, because it's so many times, we would go to the VA, or we would have a shirt on that says Army. And one thing they say, what is your husband in Army?
Ah,
Is your husband the vet? And I'm like, wait a minute.
I know.
Exactly. First of all, you try not to be defensive and you try not to be real cocky, but
Right.
like, well, first of all, I'm not married.
Um,
Secondly, no, I'm the veteran. And I get some people to give you this strange look.
right.
You a veteran, what did you do? So I wanted to make it about the women veterans. And
Right.
then in thinking about making it about the women veterans, I was like, what can we do? What can this organization do to help these women in
Mm-hmm.
situations like that?
Mm-hmm.
And, we go through combat,
Mm-hmm.
hand to hand combat. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times when we get out of the military, or even still being in, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Have you heard that term before?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to offer some things. And
Uh,
one of the things is in our defense program. And in that program, one of the classes is self-defense.
okay.
And what we would do with our women veteran, any class that we have, we are asking these women to go back into the community and
Mm-hmm.
teach the civilian women, teach the
Mm-hmm.
teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
We in the military, we know you never leave without your battle buddy. If
Mm-hmm.
you're caught out there alone, it's like, where's your battle buddy? And so
Absolutely.
you will end up hearing a lot of veterans say, hey, battle. And that's our term that we have, like, hey, girlfriend,
Okay.
what's up, bro? In the military, we call each other battle. Even if we were never in service together,
Hmm.
We are always each other's battle. We
That's it.
always have each other's back. Or you
Right.
may hear the term, I got your six, which means they got your back. And that's
Right.
how Top Flight Defense came about.
Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love the name Top Flight Defense. And we know, just from watching the news, all the young ladies that are being snatched and can't find them and what's happening to them, um and people I don't really know if people talk about self-defense classes anymore. And we definitely, that's definitely something that we need to bring back to the forefront. So I'm excited to hear about that, and definitely want to be able to share their resources, because being able to defend ourselves in these times, and yeah, it's so important. And you're right. You just served 28 years. Now you coming back and you serving again. So you just actually started this organization recently.
Yes. And
Wow.
the name Top Flight Defense came from have been thinking. I didn't just wake up, oh, Top Flight Defense. Each name means something. And within the organization, that name is a program. Like we have the top program, we have the flight program, and we have the defense program. And each program works in with one. You go from one, and sometimes it will overlap.
Hmm.
Like in our flight program, we have Leadership 101, and the flight program is designed for women who are trying to get in the niche. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find themselves, trying to find their career. And they may know what their career is, but need a little help or a little nudge. And so we'll have a Leadership 101. And so once they've completed or conducted the Leadership 101 class, then the top program is that sister's on her game now. But she may need a little bit, brushing up on some things. So we
Yeah.
have Leadership 201. And
Okay.
we're trying to partner with some people with the Toastmaster and
Hmm.
helping us learn how to speak more fluently, be more comfortable in speaking in front of people. And
Hmm.
so that's how it derived. Top women need to be up on their game. Flight, we want to soar. And defense, we need to take care of ourselves.
I absolutely love it. If any women out there that is watching, how could you not love the name itself? So I just really can't wait to see all the amazing and wonderful things that I know that you're going to do and bring to the community. Just the name alone blows me away. That's going to stick with me. So
Good. That's the purpose.
what's your website so people can go check out Top Flight Defense? Is
Yes.
that
So,
it?
yes, the website is www.topflightdefenseinc.org. And we also have, we're on all social media. Our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/Top Flight Defense Inc. And then we're on Instagram. It's instagram.org/Top Flight Defense Inc.org. No, not .org. Top Flight Defense Inc. Just Inc. I'm sorry. And then on Twitter, it's a little tricky. It's twitter.com/defense_top.
Top Flight. Look for them, find them. I have a whole bunch of questions. I could
Come
ask you.
on.
We're gonna talk. Now I saw that your hobbies are singing and dancing, which
Yeah.
there are two of my hobbies too. So I was loving that. That's a connection.
Yes.
And I think you sung recently. Well, I think you sung recently somewhere.
Yes.
In uniform.
Yes, I actually was asked to sing at the Mission Barbecue opening here in Naperville
Okay.
by Top. I call him, his name is Pops, but his real name is John Myricks, and he's with the DuPage Honor Guard.
Okay.
And he always asks me whenever they have events and they look for someone to sing the national anthem, they would always ask me. So it was my honor to do that. So I posted the video. I've sang the national the national honor, the national anthem for the professional bull riders. Every time they would come into town, they called me. Monster truck, and
Oh,
yes, the monster truck. And the biggest one for me was Chicago Sky. The
oh,
women, yes,
wow.
yes,
That
yes,
is
yes,
so awesome.
yes.
Congratulations on that. Okay, so we're gonna
Oh,
talk a little bit about you and being a veteran and what's going on in the community with veterans. But I want to bring Albert in to talk a little bit about a special place for veterans. And have us um tell us about. He is the founder. We got these two founders in the house, these veterans out here doing their thing. I absolutely love it. Tell us a little bit about a special place for veterans.
Well, the idea came from when I was active duty, and they were going to medically discharge me. So, and I was a non-commissioned officer, E5, and non-commissioned officers are known as the backbone of the military. So, I thought when we get out, how can we still continue to be the backbone of our nation as civilians as we transition?
Mhm.
And I also wanted to bring attention to the tour of duty that the family members have done.
Mhm.
And so, because a lot of people not members have done, only the veterans. And I kind of thought that wasn't fair. So, but at the same time, special place for veterans fed inside what we call holistic human health because have giving people living in the community. Our core mission is to buy land to build communities for veterans and our family members. That's our core mission. And
Mhm.
by doing that, I believe that brings about spiritual healing,
Mhm.
mental rest, knowing that your family is taken care of, even to the point after the veteran goes on to glory. So it wasn't just about giving you a house. It's when you live around people that understands what you're going through, your thought process, your decision
Right.
making process, for someone that just gets it. And I've heard lots of situations and stories where civilians and veterans kind of clash in the workplace environment and things of that nature. So, and I feel that is a state of unrest, and being in the community would do that. And on my way of doing that, I ended up, homeless myself, working, fell on my way to success. And we, got ourselves out of that situation. And along the way, I made relationship with other nonprofits and how you say, to build relationships with other nonprofits to let other people know about the nonprofit. Because one of the problems we have is we don't know these services that people want to provide exist. So
Right. That's
I ended up being more of a, I don't know, public relations person for all these other places. Hey guys, go here, go there, before I was even building my own
mhm.
because I knew I did that, and plus I do know our nonprofit would solve two problems for all the other organizations that want to provide services. We
Mhm.
always have a problem with finding the veterans and then
Mhm.
getting them in one place to service them.
Right.
So in our
Right.
community that we live, once we get them the housing and get the family together, okay, that don't mean the other services no longer need to be provided because we
Mhm.
still got the job situations, reintegration into the civilian life, and then rebuilding the families because I had to do it myself.
Mhm.
Rebuild relationships with my family for being so militant and how I was even at times maybe even cruel or mean for being so militant. And now I'm rebuilding those relationships, and all those things takes time, and it needs a place to do it. So everything I do, I believe, makes a special place for veterans truly become a special place for veterans,
Right.
family members. So, and I think we all be a lot happier when you have a place where you don't have to worry about the necessities like a place to stay, eating, medical, or
Right.
dental. When you have that all settled, and we
Right.
can do it, and I believe this is feasible. We all come together and do it because I tell people all the time, did you
Right.
go to basic training alone? Did you go to war alone? So why should we have to build this legacy alone? Let's come together as veterans and nickel and dime our way to success and inch our way to completion.
Right. Right. I love it. A special place for veterans. I love that you too served this country, was a service and came back, and now you're still continuing to give back and do all you can to make a difference in our communities and be able to support and help other people. I think it's amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you.
for it so much. So I want to talk to the two of you. I want to talk to both both of you guys, and I'm just wondering. We've been in this pandemic a long time. We
Yeah.
did not think I'm sure you guys like me did not think um it would be this long.
Right. No, I didn't.
How, if at all, how have you seen this pandemic have an effect on veterans and veterans' lives, and particularly like those that are homeless and don't have the resources? Have you seen more outreach and help? Just your observation of what's been going on in that area. And
Yes.
I feel you.
I know I've seen a lot. What I do full time, I'm in the hospital. I work
Ooh,
at a hospital,
okay.
and it's this pandemic has caused a lot of issues,
Mhm.
and mainly with the veterans, the PTSD is more profound now,
Okay.
because it started where we could not go to the hospital because of the pandemic. And
Mm,
so some of them had to sit at home and go through the process or go through the recovery,
mhm.
not necessarily alone, but with their family members. But some of the family members don't understand
Right, 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 right.
our PTSD, or I don't really like calling it PTSD because I don't look at it as being a disorder, because I'm living with PTSS. It's a
Mm,
syndrome. It's a syndrome. It's not a disorder, first of all.
okay.
And so it causes more issues, because if you're used to going to the VA or going to your doctor and talking the problems out, now you
Mhm,
can't do that.
mhm.
And you don't
Right.
know what the issues are at home, even though now they have the video visits or
Mhm.
telemed. So that helps. But for the most part, it's the home. I won't speak on the homeless. I'm going to let Albert speak on that part. But I
Mhm.
just know, and coming into the hospital and having to deal with some things that you normally would not deal with at home,
Mhm.
and going out to the hospital, you now have to deal with it at home, because you can't, there's no outlet to go out and meet up with your battle or your buddy and just go sit,
Right,
even if it's not necessarily going for a drink, but going for some coffee or
right,
having a girls' wine night or whatever. We
right,
aren't able to do that.
right, right. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So what about Albert? Have you seen anything, any
Mhm.
effect, as it relates to in the community with the homeless veterans? Any change?
Well, well, I can tell you this: what I know now in my experiences is that yes, I know there's an impact with some of the food closets are closing,
Mhm.
like the
Right.
Jesse Brown.
True.
They used to have this
Right.
every week, whatever, and I was one of the benefactors from that. So people had to find other ways. So yes, to answer your question, there's other things happening. Like for example, I was recommended to work with a nonprofit called Of Color Inc. So I went
Mhm.
with them. And now my job every day, we hit the streets, we find homeless veterans and get them job ready, put to the job readiness program. So we
Mhm.
find out where they are, give resources to, or find the resources who know where they are, and we this is what we do if they qualify,
Mhm.
the program. And with some of these programs, I do kind of have a small problem with it because when they put the qualifications on it, that means that someone we can't help. And so
Mm.
I don't like that, and I'm wondering why are those qualifications there in the first place? But
Mhm.
we're going up the ladder trying to make a difference. So what I'm doing now is I partner with other nonprofits with training programs, and we're currently right now writing grants to get people. So people, it's open to the public, but our personal target is veterans and their families. Um,
Mhm.
for robotics, cybersecurity, and CNC. And then another gentleman, I asked him to be on the call. Hope they made it. They have their own university. So we are working to take advantage of all the dollars and grants that are available
Mhm.
to transition these people's lives into something that makes them relevant in the future. So we also got to consider that, not just get them a job,
Right.
or we got to ensure that there's going to be they want to be in this industry, whatever they choose, and then it's going to be there for a while. The industry's not going to get shut down. So we kind of guide them in which type of industry to go into in the future, or a soft degree versus a trade. I mean, we have all those types of conversations with everyone, and so that means we have to be abreast and educated, or at least be aware. So that's why we make all these relationships and let other nonprofits help us. Whatever we don't do directly, we will source out, to other people or other organizations. And so that's, again, all of this is part of the holistic human health, like the job, that the mental stability that you have of being at ease with income over inflation. We talk about that in the financial literacy. So yeah, things are up there, and then by us going out in the streets and other nonprofits putting forth the effort to let people know that these exist, I think we can come out of this. It's going to take a minute because they're hard to find, and then also sometimes they don't want to be helped. So we have to just do what we can.
So I always wonder. I gotta ask the question. I think I mentioned it to Cassandra because I really don't understand. I'm gonna be honest. You serve our country. You come out. I don't understand what happens and where's the disconnect. Why? I mean, I know people are people, and there are homeless people that aren't veterans. So I get that. Where's the disconnect when veterans are discharged, when they've served, they come home? Where's the breakdown? Like, what happens? Because I'm always thinking, like, there are so many resources, that are available. So what happens? And I want to start with Cassandra because she and I talked about it a little bit. What happens?
Okay, and I'm so glad that you brought this up. There's a gamut of things. One thing that I would like to speak about are the women veterans that are homeless. And one of the nonprofit organizations that I was working with is Final Salute. And that is her main goal, is Jazz Booth. She's the founder. She's actually from Chicago, but her home and everything is in Virginia. And we were out there and we advocating, trying to find out what is going on. Why are these women coming home and then being homeless? Right. A bunch of reasons. One, things changed. When we leave home and we go and we fight a battle. So when we leave home, we leave our kids, if we have spouses, we'll leave our spouse, and then we leave our family members. And we're not paying those bills, not directly. Okay, some of us may send money home. We come back and everything has changed. Some of it could be that they no longer need us in the role that we used to play when we were at home.
Okay.
Some of us come home after MST, which is military sexual trauma. And so mentally, we are not the same. So things happen. We come home to a divorce. And so we trust people, we send things home, and then we get back and everything has changed. It's no longer the same. Our battle buddies who we were over in Afghanistan, Iraq, or wherever we were at are not there any longer. You know what I'm saying? So now we're out doing things on our own. And it's hard to cope. There was a group, Yellow Ribbon Program, and it would help veterans reintegrate back into society. Okay. I'm not quite sure if that organization is still going on and doing the same things, but that's what we needed. And so we fall off. Some have left and had a job before we left and go serve our country, come back, and that job has either folded or our position, because they supposed to hold our job, but and how they do it, they get rid of that job. So if that particular job is no longer available, guess what? You no longer have a job. So now you're out there and you have kids, because for those that had kids, your family member had your kids for you. So now you're out there trying to fend for yourself, and the struggle at the VA, trying to get compensation. It's a whole lot of different things. So I've gotten women to say, well, I can't understand why a woman is homeless. You in the military, or you were in the military, you came home, but that's not necessarily the case. Mentally, things have changed for us. We get back, and physically, things have changed for us. We knew what we were wearing every day. We had that uniform. We knew where we were sleeping.
Okay.
Bills were paid by the government. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so now we get back home, we got to pay our rent, we got to pay our mortgage,
Yeah.
telephone bill, gas, all of those things. And we have to try to utilize the funding that we have now that we're back home that we no longer have when we were overseas or deployed.
Got you. I don't think I've ever heard it shared like that. Albert, what's your experience, or what can you share about that?
Well, I do. I tell you this. I was reading a book about veteran entrepreneurs, and one of the uh, chapters in there, a man explained something really well, and it stuck with me. And he said, if you are uh, a stand-up individual living life lawfully, you can be considered a sheep, right? And if you have a person that want to live life by any means necessary, you be considered a wolf. But if you're a person that's peaceful enough to deal with the sheep and violent enough to deal with the wolf, you're a sheepdog. And the veteran is the sheepdog. And I looked at that and said, that's totally two different species. We come out to live among the sheep, which is totally different. So I looked at it as a love-hate relationship, because that's exactly what I feel is described when people talk about their relationships, when they go to work, first in, last out, and some of the civilians have a problem with that. And we're just thinking we're doing a good job. And that happened to me. Some man actually thought I was trying to take over his business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I didn't get hired at all. And now I'm still right back at not having a job. And so when I looked further into that idea, I said, well, you can't untrain the veteran and you can't train the civilian, right? So it's still left on us to live in a constant state of adapt and overcome. So we still have to be soldiers in a way, but not on the battlefield. So it's I don't know, emotional, a lot of things mixed up. And when I've talked to some veterans who are on the street and other people who deal with veterans, some of the veterans rather stay homeless than put up with all the red tape and to not get help. Because there's a book really thick about classification of homelessness, and a lot of veterans don't get help. So, they want you on the street first before they help you. There's no preventive measurements, which is what I wanted to do, what I want to do. And if God let me keep living, I'm going to do that. And so I believe we have to change our mentality of, I have to say it this way, let's stop counting on others and do it ourselves. Okay? A lot of people keep telling me, well, the VA supposed to do this, the government supposed to do that. That's okay, but they're not. I'm glad we got the VA. I'm glad we had the GI Bill, but the fact that we had to fight for it is screwed up to me. So let's get ourselves together and let's do it, because that's what makes it. There's 21 million of us, and the last time they counted, veterans. Okay, and if we nickel and dime ourselves together, whether you need a house or not, whether you need the services or not, we just ask people to. We're just asking to come together a little bit at a time by the millions. You know what we can do with that? I'm currently in conversation with economic development people. They want to give us the land. We just got to have the money to build on.
Right.
So, but Yolanda, do you know the definition of homeless as it relates to the VA and HUD?
No. What's the definition?
It's not having a roof over your head. Couch surfing is not considered homeless.
Oh,
but
wow.
You don't have a home.
Yeah.
And
so say that you don't have a home, but you go and you stay at your aunt's house tonight, and then tomorrow you stay at your uncle's house. The VA consider that as not being homeless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there have been women that have kids, and that was told, because she has a roof over her head, even if it belongs to somebody else, she's not considered as being homeless. Now, think about, and I apologize, but this is so...
Right. I'm with you too.
Yeah. Think about this. A woman, a young lady that has a child, she just came home from the Army. Her child was staying with her mom and her boyfriend. And I'm not trying to be stereotypical right now. I'm just giving you a scenario. Her mom lived with her boyfriend in, say, a one-bedroom apartment or a studio apartment. And it was okay when she was deployed because she had the baby. Now the girl is home, staying in her mom's place with her mom's boyfriend and the baby. That can be a little bit too tight.
Right.
And some boyfriends or husbands, they didn't sign up for all of that. And
Right.
so now the mother, okay, of that veteran has to choose to put her daughter and her grandchild out on the street. So they go to the VA. And I know the VA here, I had a veteran in that situation. The VA told me that they had 7 homeless shelters, okay? 5 were for men, 2 were for women, okay? But the 2 that were for women, one was for a family and it was full, and the other one that was for single women had an opening. They actually told that young lady that she needed to, if she wanted a place, she could take the place, but she'd have to go and take her child to someone else.
Wow.
That is what we're dealing with.
Yeah,
And
so I wanted to I asked that question because I wanted viewers, civilians, even family members who may have people that are currently serving to just to understand the disconnect. And with this pandemic going on, like I can't even imagine. We did have somebody ask the question, are veterans with disabilities at risk with weak immune system, more at risk? I'm assuming that they would be more at risk with possibly contracting this COVID-19, and to think that there's limited resources and support.
Yep. I would say yes, just based off of, we supposed to have on a mask, right?
right.
So if you're homeless, where you getting a mask from? Okay, if you they can tie a piece of clothing around their mouth. But if they're homeless, that clothing is not clean.
It's not clean.
So then now not only are they contracting COVID-19, any and every other disease, and it's going to be hard for them to fight it off because why? Their immune system is already weakened.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's weakened because before COVID even happened, they were dealing with all this other stuff already years, and so that was tearing it down. And now we have this to add to it. It's almost like, is there any hope? Because the people who were healthy and with jobs and stuff, the numbers are going up, and so there's some. We just have to get creative and keep praying and ask the Lord to come help us. Because I know I ain't afraid to say we need to pray because I think we need to. But if I may say this one thing, when we were talking about the homeless situation and about having to be on the street, me and my family personally was in the attic of a home, and it was all we had was a toilet and a sink for and I was getting my degree and trying to find work at the same time. So, and my kids were little, so my wife couldn't go out to work because you had a baby. So, and they're experiencing this. And as children, and my other one was almost going to high school, so they were able to remember and see all these things, and now they have their own impression about things. So that's why I want to include the family members because they're quietly suffering. They're not going to say anything. They see mom and daddy trying to do the best they can, and they can't do anything until they grow up. So is that PTSD for the children, and they're not even in the military anymore. So what are they suffering with? We're not even having that conversation.
Right.
And then COVID and all that kind of stuff. So, and then there's uproar in the families. I keep talking about the family because the family's not healed. Even you might get housing, but you got all these red tapes, so you still not mentally and spiritually settled to get yourself together. And say, okay, now I want to start a business. Now I want to get this job. Now I want to get my career. You can't focus on those kinds of things with all these other things going on with the red tape, these laws, and then now COVID, and you can't go out now. And then some of the veterans are just saying, forget it, because I got to talk veterans and telling them we can help you still. We can do it virtually, and it's like it's difficult because your heart goes out and you can't make anyone do anything at the same time. So yeah, that's where we are right now.
So this is, if you just started watching, this is the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. Georgia Doty is a nonprofit organization that's been serving the Chicago community for years, that have a special emphasis in supporting, gathering resources for veterans. The CEO and founder is a former Marine. He's a veteran himself. So and this is November. We are honoring and recognizing our veterans and really thanking them. So we're just having conversation about it. So I want to ask, so what advice would you give to families who currently have someone that's serving? That's in the military right now. How does the family be of support? I heard, I think I heard you mention it a little bit, Cassandra, because it's always sometimes seems like it's the other way around. Like the soldier is supporting the family, and everybody is so proud, and so how, what to viewers that are watching that have a loved one that is currently serving, and this is some really crazy times right now. Here, on here, us as civilians. So I can't even imagine, how it is for soldiers. How can families support their loved ones that's in the military right
The ones that are currently away, or the ones that are at home? Because there's two different ways.
now? For both. Give me a little bit for both.
Okay. For family members that are away, sending care packages,
Mm.
sending letters,
Mm.
video chatting, Skyping,
Mhm.
Zooming, making that their veteran, making their service member. Because we have to say service member, because every branch has an Army has soldiers, Air Force have airmen, so we have to call them service member.
Mhm.
Making sure that your service member know that you still support them, that you're there for them, that you miss them, that you love them.
Okay.
Because so many times we'll lose, and let me say this, I've never been deployed.
Mhm.
I've been away from my family, but I've never gone overseas.
Mhm.
But when I was gone from my family, knowing that my family was handling my business at home that I had left, made my job and made me do my job a whole lot better when I was
Okay.
away, because I knew everything was taken care of.
Mhm.
Now, once a family member is home, not pushing them.
Mm.
If they were deployed, a lot of times asking them what happened is a trigger, can
Mhm.
be a trigger, because you don't know what they've seen. But if a
Mhm.
family member tell you that they don't want to talk about it, leave them alone, because evidently there's some things that happen that they don't want to talk about.
Mhm.
If you see your family member spacing out, just staring off somewhere, don't rush them. Don't scare them. Don't jerk at them, because you don't know what they're going through. You have to learn how to talk softly with them.
Okay.
Understanding that they are no longer the same person that they were when they left. You could have been this rambunctious person and, just full of life. And then something happened when you deployed and it changed you. And pointing that out, well, you're not the same. Don't do that. You have to know and allow your veteran to show you who they are. When
Okay.
you see things have changed, just because they've changed, like say they used to drink before they left, but they weren't heavy drinkers. And now they come home and now they're heavier drinkers. You got to ease your way into it. If they weren't smokers and now they're smoking, you got to ease your way into it. You can't bum rush them with anything. You can't call them out like, what's wrong with you? Not with attitude, because there's things that's going on with inside of us that we cannot, or maybe not even feel comfortable in telling our family member, but we feel comfortable in telling our doctor, or we'll feel comfortable in telling our battle buddy. And try not to, don't get jealous if
Mhm.
your service member feels more comfortable and talking to their battle buddy than they do you. It's
Right.
because their battle buddy understands
Right.
everything that you're going through, and the family member may not understand.
Right. Okay. We're gonna shift a little bit back to, I know, just hold on because we're running out of time. So the Georgia Doty organization has actually declared war against COVID-19, targeting the homeless veterans. And when I think about that, I want to ask the two of you who are veterans, you're in the community, you're making a difference. Is there anything that do you know of any resources? And how can the community help in this pandemic situation to try to help veterans? Is there something that we can do? Is there any resources that we want our viewers to know that they can point some folks in that direction? Do you know of any resources?
Well, I'm not sure exactly how Black Diamond Charities is doing their program, but they a program for project management completely free for veterans, and they get the certificate, and then the only thing they pay for was the actual testing. Okay. And also the Of Color Inc. is the company I'm with, and we have a lot of job trainings and programs, and we actually receiving a bunch of clients right now. We're looking for clients right now to go through that process, and we could take some through faster than others. Everybody don't need all the same thing, and we're not what you call a staffing agency, but we do stick with them until they find employment, and then the type of employment that they need. So there's a couple of organizations out there doing the same exact thing. So you can refer them to any one of them that you know about. But I know Of Color Inc. is one that's we're active right now, and we're doing things virtually, even if we get shut down. So they don't have to not receive the help, because a lot of this training is online anyway. You know, you can talk and do a lot of things, and then get them in the field of what you call the essential workers type of stuff. Because we talk with employers as well. And the conversation I'm starting with employers when I can is how to handle or what accommodations you're going to give veterans in when they come to that workplace, either PTSD or handicap, whatever word we're supposed to use today. But and then whatever assistance they may need to do the job, because every handicap is not always a physical one. You know, because I dealt with some assistance, but I got an admin job. So, and then not to make the veteran feel inadequate or all those different things, like they can't do the same job in the same field. We just have to do it a different way, and they feel bad because they need some assistance, because we are really going to think that ourselves anyway. And then if the employer is going to come, and so that's the other thing. And the last thing is, when we do have what we call a veteran job fair, we were disappointed because we went to one that was called a veteran job fair, but when we got there, we got treated like everybody else. Oh, give me a resume, and then we'll give you a call. It was like, huh? Well, we expected. I'm a veteran. I start tomorrow. That's what we thought we were going to really happen. So that was very disheartening and disappointing. So if employers are hearing this, create something like that, you know, and train the veteran for whatever you need. Don't, or we need everybody. No, I believe that we have who we have in this earth, and no one's going anywhere. So to create all these, raise the bar and all these different things, to me, it's kind of ridiculous, because we're not going anywhere, and we still have, all we have left is each other and this earth. So we have to be, I believe we all have to do a better job of considering the other person, being patient, and taking people through the process of being successful, because that's each individual person's responsibility, I believe, not just some organizations. So we get that mentality set inside every person that we interact with. I think this world could be a better place.
Right. I like that, to really think about it. And those out there, any employers out there, any small business owners out there, if you have not considered or thought about being a resource and employing a veteran, I'm saying give it a shot.
Can I make mention? There's a Road Home program at Rush that helps veterans as well. And I'm an employee at Rush. And we have an organization, or should I say a program for veterans that have disability. And so Rush, and with, I don't know, I'm going to put it out there anyway. Rush University Medical Center, downtown Chicago is where I work, and they work they allow you to express the fact that they're the disclaimer that you do have a disability, and they don't hold that against you. They accommodate you. With me being a diabetic, with me having PTSD, with slight memory loss, that didn't hinder me from getting hired.
Right,
And
right.
so I'm putting them out there. Um, Look at them. Look
Okay.
at the Road Home program. There's another program, Operation Support Our Troops. They're here in Naperville.
Okay.
They help with veterans and sending care packages and getting you trained. And then, of course, Top Flight Defense. Reach out to us. You know, hey, um, yeah, all of that.
We definitely have some amazing organizations. TopFlightDefense.org. We have a special place for veterans. We have both the founders here. And I got to give you all this because we only got a little more time. So
Okay.
I just want to give both of you real briefly provide some words with a young person that may be kind of thinking about the military but not really sure, or some parents that may be watching saying, my son is going to the army. I'm gonna start with you, Albert. What would you say to those people?
What I have said to some people that was talking about, even if they don't like the politics, this and that, I tell them the similar thing I just mentioned. Um, no matter what situation you're in, you're still here, and we're still in the military, and you still got to do what you have to do. And I said the military is a good place to be until you figure out what you want to do. And so in the meantime, you're not just bumming around, living off mom and dad, whatever. So you go out there, and in the military, you can transition different jobs. Oh, I don't like this one. I can get retrained for that one. So use it as leverage until you find yourself. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I say, because you're making some money, you're getting housed, you don't have to worry about a lot of different things. Yeah, you might get deployed or you might not go overseas, but there's a lot of upscale too, because you're getting trained, you're getting certain disciplines, you're certain mentalities, and you'll find out that you can do things you never thought you can do when you're in certain situations. It's something you just don't get unless you're at home, unless you're living in an extreme situation here at home. But I say use everything as leverage. I was an admin person. That was my job. So I tell them about a lot of different ways you can go around getting what you need. If you can't get it one way, you can try it this way. And so that's what I have told and will continue to tell people, young people that's worried about getting in. Because if you don't like what the military or not, so either you're using it to your benefit or you just sit and complain about it and be broke.
Okay, one of our viewers said free education,
Yes.
degree, no state taxes are collected while on active duty. So
That too.
I'm like, thumbs up to that for real.
Right.
So Cassandra, what words would you give, and especially to girls, that thinking about the military and they mama like, that ain't
Okay, I'm so glad you asked me that question for two reasons. One, August 28th, 2021,
happening.
Top Flight Defense is hosting an event called Why I Serve. And
Oh,
so, yes, and so far we have 76 women, veterans, that have told their story, why they served. We've
hmm.
taken those stories and we put it in a book, and the book should be ready for distribution maybe March of next year. And in that book, there's stories of these women. We have a young lady, and I say young lady because she's 96 years old or
Uh,
Mhm.
96 years young, Coast Guard, telling us why she decided to join the military.
Wow.
So, for me, everybody's story is different. It's what works for you. For me, I was trying to get away from somebody. I'm just tell you like it is. But you got to get the book and you'll understand and you can read why I went in. But
I
for the most part, it's education, like someone mentioned, education.
Mhm.
If you want to change in space, you want to change in place, you want to
Right.
do more that you can't do in the civilian world. Your
Mhm.
parents, you may not even want to go to college.
Mhm.
One, your parents
Right.
may not be able to afford it, or
Right.
college is not for you. So you
Right.
say, okay, I'm going to go into the military. I suggest active duty. And the reason I say active duty, had I gone active duty back then, in 1985, I'd be in a whole nother space right now, in a much better space. Because the things that they offer you, rent, you ain't got to worry about your clothes, you ain't got to worry about utilities. You make it. I said, pimp the government. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's you pimping them. You getting your money, because trust me when I tell you, you get every education, every benefit that you can. Because when Uncle Sam is ready to send you off, he's gonna get everything he can from you. You get everything you can from them. When I tell you, I started off as a food service specialist. I went to a dietary specialist. Then I went to HR. Then I went to a training NCO. Then I went into the UPL, which is the unit prevention leader, checking for urinalysis for drug testing. Then I went to sexual assault and sexual harassment. When I tell you, every time they ask, do you want to go to school?
Right.
I wanted to be retrained for something else. So take that education, if you can't get it on the outside, and get it on the inside.
I love that. And that's going to lead us to, one person said military does more classroom training than most folks think. So that's good to know. So this is a good transition. We have an amazing video that we want our viewers to see. It's coming.
And to present our national anthem, a veteran, 28 years of our United States Army, please welcome retired Sergeant First Class, Cassandra Taylor.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed in the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Oh my God, that was absolutely amazing. Let me say, on behalf of Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization, on behalf of myself, on behalf of everyone, if they have never said it, thank you for your service. Thanks to all the veterans for your service. We really appreciate all that you have given, all the sacrifices you've made in your lives, and just so much honor to both of you who are continuing to serve. Thank you so much.
You're
This
welcome.
has been the Doty Report on comprehensive health. We salute our veterans and we honor them, and we appreciate them. Thank you so much. This has been an absolutely great show. Um, until next time, we appreciate all of our viewers. Please go to georgiadotyhealth.org for more information about the organization. We are always looking for volunteers. We currently have some positions open for telemarketers. And go and get information. You know, send an email, inquire about services and resources that are available to veterans. In this particular situation, the Georgia Doty organization has declared war against COVID-19 as it relates to the homeless veterans. Thank you guys so much, and I will see everyone next time. Goodbye.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.